we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to go through the node worker empire. I'll be showing you guys my current setup, and I'll be letting you guys know what you want to be unlocking in order of priority. It is important to note there is a lot of nodes I'm going to be going over, so if there is a few that are important that I forget to mention earlier on, I will put a little note next to them saying, look guys, you might want to pick this one up a bit earlier than I mentioned. It is quite important. But you will need roughly 300 plus contribution points to be able to build an effective node worker empire. And if you don't know what contribution points are or how to get to 300 easily, and you're a bit new to node management and you don't know about how to hire workers and send them to nodes, please watch episode 1 of Life Scaling Foundations. I go over all of that in as in depth as I can for Xbox players. Everything I mention here is very easily translatable to the PS4. It's almost the same inputs. Instead of Y, it would be triangle, and I think B is circle, X is still X, and A is whatever button that I forgot to mention. So it is very translatable to PlayStation 4. If any of you guys are watching the video, you can follow me along and do the same things. Another important key factor is, if you haven't bought any farms yet whilst you're setting up the node and you're watching my video, please make sure you leave yourself 100 contribution points. At the minimum, I'd say 50, but I'd recommend leaving 100 contribution points for yourselves to set up farming. Farming is really, really important, and it's going to become even more important as time goes on and dream courses come out. If you start farming now, then you're really going to set yourself up for success in the future. However, let's get straight into it. In episode 1, we already talked about the first couple of nodes you want to be picking up is Bartali Farm, chicken and potato farming ones over here, and the other one is Finto Farm, again chicken and potato. This will make sure you've got some good cooking materials and you can feed your node worker empire. The next important part was you guys had to go to Glitch and pick up 2 workstations, a tier 3 and tier 4 stations over here. This is really going to help you out in crafting your own alchemy and cooking benches, so you don't have to rely on the market, which is very unreliable in terms of getting the mats that you need. And before we continue, so the node empire I'm about to show you is a jack of all trades. It can allow you to do some good armor crafting. It can allow you to do some great alchemy. It is geared a bit more towards alchemy than anything else. It does have some cooking nodes and some processing nodes in there. But if you want a jack of all trades kind of empire, this is the one I'd recommend following. If there's any changes, obviously make the changes yourself as you see fit. And finally, what this is really going to help you with is crafting and upgrading your own alchemy stones. Is one of the bigger purposes of this node empire that I have here. So the first couple of nodes I'd really recommend you guys unlocking after that is you want to come to Altanova and connect Altanova down to abandoned iron mines. You want to be unlocking both the mining nodes here to get yourself zinc ore and iron ore. This will get you byproducts of both powder of time, which is important for alchemy stones, and rough black crystals, which again is really important for alchemy stones, for gruntle armor. And the iron ore itself is important for upgrading destruction stones, which a lot of people are going to want to have. So after you grab these 2 here, you want to come to Omar Lama Cave and you want to grab the mining node that gives you zinc ore. So there's 2 mining nodes. If you unlock the wrong one, you can easily check it by trying to send a worker to it. If it's not zinc and it's coal, then make sure you unlock the zinc ore and sell the coal node. After you got these ones here, you're going to want to come over to Pilgrim's Haven by Sangrein Bazaar. Again, you want the iron node here, so the mining node at Sangrein Bazaar. This will get you more rough black crystal and more iron ore. Then after Sangrein Bazaar, you want to connect yourself to Bazaar Farmland into Western Plateau of Valencia, down to Crescent Mountains. Now, again, you're going to grab both mining nodes here, and you've probably already guessed it. They're both iron ores to really help you get that iron in, which is a really good product to upgrade destruction stones. But more importantly, it gives you rough black crystals. Rough black crystals is the core bottleneck item besides some hides that you're going to need to create gruntle armors. Now, if you don't want to create gruntle armors, you don't have to. You can always sell rough black crystals on the market and make some good passive money there. That's why I suggest picking up these iron ores that are a bit more expensive in contribution points than other ones. So once you've got all these things, I would then recommend picking up this water node up here. Water's really important for alchemy, and it's sold out mostly at the minute on Xbox because of alchemy stones coming out. So if you get the vacation spot up here just next to Kadri runes, you want to unlock the gathering node, and this is going to get you muddy water, and the rare proc is purified water. All these nodes I've currently showed you, you want to be sending human workers to them if you have the luxury of choosing what kind of worker. Human workers are the best. And after you've got all these nodes here, it is important to remember as well that you need to hire workers to be able to send to these nodes. As you unlock these nodes, make sure you're also unlocking residents at whichever town or city you want gathering these nodes. I personally have everything I'm showing you going to Altanova. So I've made some extra connections. If you don't have the CP, you don't need to make these connections here. But you can save a lot of CP by not making these connections and sending everything to Sandgrain Bazaar. So please do keep that in mind. Now, once you grabbed all these, we're going to go to Traces now, which is the excavation nodes. The first one I'm going to show you is Pilgrim of Humility, which is probably the second most important one in my opinion for excavation nodes. We'll get to the most important one in just a second. But one other note for excavation nodes, before you can unlock them, you have to physically go to the node, talk to the node manager, and give him, I think it's 20 or 30 or 40 energy. I can't remember exactly how much, but you give him a certain amount of energy and he then allows you to unlock the excavation node. So you unlock the excavation, you send a worker to them. I'd recommend honestly sending goblins. Even though you want the rare proc, goblins really reduce the time that it takes to get to these nodes. As you can see, it's really long. This is 1 hour and 23 minutes. But the rare proc here that you're looking to get is Trace of Memory. The most important excavation node is going to be all the way back next to Heidel, Lynch Farm Runes. So you want the Altar Imp's Broken Trumpet, which is the excavation node down here. This gives you Trace of Savagery. Whilst you're here, another important pickup as well is Silver Azalea. I would recommend grabbing all the trace nodes first, but if you know you got enough CP, you might as well just grab that here to help you with low-end alchemy. Another important excavation node is over here, Ancient Runes. I can't remember what this one gives you. Let me check. So we'll go into Altanova. So this one should give you Trace of, I think it's Earth maybe. Yeah, so it gives you Trace of Earth and Trace of Chaos for that node there, which is important again for alchemy and other uses as well. You can also use it for costume crafting if that's what you're into. The next excavation we're going to talk about is down by Glish. It's a bit of an expensive one to unlock because you have to go through one of these 3 CP guard camps, whichever one you prefer to go through. You can go through the top one if you want. But Glish Runes, excavation node here. This is going to give you Trace of Origin and Trace of Hunting and Black Dirt. All the other common items you get from excavation nodes just sell to the vendors. They're all vendor items that can net you a little bit of money extra on top as well, which is pretty nice. And I think the final excavation node we're going to go over is just above Calpheon. Just north of Calpheon is Bartali Farm, a bit further up in Northern Wheat Plantation. Grab the excavation node here, and honestly I don't remember which one this gives you. Oh yeah, very, very important. Trace of Battle, great for making frenzy elixirs and a lot of other elixirs as well. And Trace of Forest, which is another important alchemy trace as well. Once you got all these, an optional one, you don't have to get this one because this is again Trace of Earth. You've already got a Trace of Earth node, but if you do want to use alchemy, create alchemy items that has a lot of Trace of Earth, or you want to craft your own functional clothes, so like cook's clothes and stuff like that, then you might want to pick up Ancient Stone Chamber as well. But it is a bit of extra CP to get down here. There's a few extra nodes you have to unlock, so it does cost a little bit. If you're happy with one Trace of Earth node and you don't have that much contribution points, you can skip this one if you want. I only very recently unlocked it because I didn't need that much Trace of Earth, but it is a good one to pick up, so do keep that in mind. Another important node that I just don't have unlocked at the minute because I've got a large stockpile of this. I think this one, I forget which one this is. It's not Silver Azalea, it's the other one. 1 second. Yeah, so Sunrise Herb. As you can see, I've got like 13,000 Sunrise Herb. I will probably have to unlock it later in the future, but for now, if you want Sunrise Herb, I'd grab Palinose Forest here. This will get you set up with a lot of Sunrise Herb. It's only 3 CP after this one, so it's not too bad. But early on, this is a really good item to be stocking up on. And in my opinion, those are the most important ones. Now, these extra ones I'm going to show you, actually, there's one more. Any copper node. Now, I've got Northern Hythal Quarry over here. But any copper node, actually, it's important to have at least one copper node to get copper. Maybe at the beginning you want to grab a few extra ones. But the reason copper nodes are important because they also give you another byproduct, which is Powder of Flame, another important powder. So I can show you a few cheaper ones that you can get up here in Velia. So I think Coastal Cave, both these nodes here are copper nodes. And Imp Cave, I think there's one iron, and one of these iron and one of these copper. So there's 3 copper nodes that I've showed you between up here that you can grab as well. They're a bit cheaper than the one I've got down there. The reason I've got the Hydrall one is because all my workers are currently working in Velia, so I can't afford to send anyone over here. That's why I've picked up the Hydrall one. If you're in the same situation, do that. But if you got extra workers in Velia, then send them to these areas here. The reason my workers in Velia are all taken up because they're currently pruning my crops over here. So that's why I don't have a lot of workers left over. Another important node, if you guys like to do cooking, is going to be right up here, Luivano Island, just north of Velia. You're going to grab the fishing dry yard here. This is really good if you want to make yourself some pet food. I've got a nice stockpiled of dry fish, so I don't have that node anymore. But I would recommend picking this one up so you can craft your own pet food at a cheap price. I'd had picked up other fish nodes in the past as well to stock up on these dry fish products. As you can see, this is the one that you get from the node I showed you. I've got 8,000 of these, and I've got a decent number of thousand of other fish. So if you want more dry fish nodes, if dried fish is an important cooking product for you and you like cooking, then definitely come up here and grab these extra islands up here. These will all give you dried fish nodes as well. Once you got a stockpile, you can sell them like I have to invest your contribution points elsewhere. Now, if you guys want to craft your own clothes, the nodes I would recommend picking up is the flax farming node right down here at Moretti Plant Foundation, just south of Hydrall. So flax is a really important functional clothes material. You can also use it to power level your processing because it's very, very light, so you can hold tens of thousands of these in your inventory and process them overnight to maximize, level up your processing as quickly as possible. And then the next node is the cotton farm node, just right side of Tariff. Grab this one, again, another important functional clothes one. If you don't make functional clothes or you don't want to power level your processing, then you don't need to pick these up either. But if you do, these are important nodes that you want to grab. Up here is an expensive node, but this is really important for alchemy. Grab both these lumbering nodes. I can't remember which one it is, but one of these nodes will give you is the only node in the game as well, by the way, that will give you a byproduct, which is over here, old tree bark, and I believe the other one gives you maybe bloody tree knot or spirit leaf. I can't remember exactly, but these are all very important items for alchemy. So I'd highly recommend picking that one up. It is quite expensive to get to. Another thing you can note as well, if you've got Velia and Hydrall connected, which I don't because I want to save contribution points, but let's say you guys have done that. If you got Velia and Hydrall connected, even though there's no direct connection with Velia node for me up here, if I did have these two connected here, then I could technically send a worker from Velia all the way over here as well, and it will take the shortest route possible for the worker, so it'll actually be the closest place to it is Velia. So if you want to maximize how many items you get, you do want to send Velia workers, but you'd have Velia and Hydrall have to be connected, and then Hydrall, you can see here, has to also be connected to the Highlands. So I've got a lot of connections here. If you're low on contribution points, you don't need all these connections, so do keep that in mind. That is a personal choice that I've made. And I don't have a worker here for some reason. I don't know why. We'll just send this guy here. I think this one gives you another byproduct, one of the tree lumps. I'm not sure. I wouldn't pick this one up. I don't really know what it gives you, but if you want to pick it up, grab it. What other nodes? I think that's basically it. Oh, actually, one node I did forget. Bear Riverhead, just south of Calpheon, is a really important node as well. It gives you an important byproduct that you're going to need later on, which is powder of earth. No, not powder of earth. Powder of earth? Yeah, it is powder of earth. So powder of earth is different to trace of earth. This is quite useful for alchemy and other crafting materials later, so do make sure you grab that one. And I've got a lumbering node here. I don't know exactly what it gives you, so this might be a waste. A few of the lumbering nodes I grabbed because I wasn't sure which ones gave red tree lumps. You can grab it as well if you want, but I might have to re-look at my lumbering nodes. So these, if you do want to have the same ones as me, you can pick these up, but maybe just check with somethinglovely.com if they give byproducts. So these are 2 lumbering nodes that I might de-invest in later on to reinvest somewhere else. But that is basically my node empire, guys. That's all the nodes I have. I've got a lot of connections just to make sure I've got all the nodes going to one location, so it's easier for me to manage. But that does cost a lot of CP, so you can cancel some of these connections that you see on my screen and send workers from a more efficient CP location. For example, you can send Terif over here to the Kasula farm to get yourself cotton instead of me sending my guy all the way from Heidel. That's a personal choice I made. It's not the most efficient way. That's just how I like doing it because I don't like micromanaging too much. Couple extra nodes that you can pick up if you're cooks that I forgot to mention is cooking honey and pumpkins. If you do a lot of cooking, you do imperial cooking, you want to do imperial cooking in the future, these are very important nodes to pick up. And for more cooking nodes, if you come up here, we've got a grape node over here across the farm, so grab the grapes. This is again very important for cooking. And olives, which is important for some cooking recipes as well. You can grab that at Olivia as well. And let's have a look. Northern Plains of Serendia. I've got a lumbering node here. These lumbering nodes I have showed you. I am not sure what byproducts they give. So you can skip these ones and do a bit more research yourself if you're really looking to maximize your spirit leaf and other byproducts that you can get from lumbering. The only one I can tell you that 100% guaranteed is you want the Medaya Northern Highlands lumbering nodes. These are important ones. Guys, that is my node empire. If there's any suggestions you want to make to other people or to myself for important nodes that should be picked up, please let me know and please let everyone else know in the comment sections. I personally haven't done any research in Camisylvia. I am 100% sure there is important nodes in Camisylvia. If I do restructure my worker empire in the future to include some Camisylvia, I will make another video to update that, guys. But this empire for me has worked fantastically. I do make a lot of Grunwald helmets. Is one of the main things I like to make for enhancing. It's really important for my enhancing videos that I have a lot of Grunner helmets. So if you do want to make Grunner helmets, there's plenty of videos online. I'll try and link something in the description down below for a guide for Grunner helmets because I won't be making that. But my next video for the life skilling foundations will cover farming, which I would recommend you guys saving 100 contribution points for. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped a couple of you guys out.